So we are here with Lightning Round. I'm Kevin Tompkins along with Gary Haddow. We've got Matt Hicks here with us from his Rookie Big Board YouTube channel. You can find him on Twitter at the FF_educator. And let's shift over to running backs here. So Matt, we'll start with you here. Outside of those top running backs, Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams, what's a running back you're kind of pegging as a target of yours heading into this draft season?
Yeah, so the next guy up for me, and I just did a pretty big update here to the Rookie Big Board. So right now it's sitting up there at running back 3, literally one spot ahead of Javonte Williams is Kenny Gainwell for me. And that's with a really specific projection for this season. So what I've actually gone and done, because I just apparently just too much of a degenerate when it comes to this. I've already put in baseline projections for these players for this season. Obviously, we'll have to tweak those once they get a landing spot, but just looked at some historical data in their profile skill set and tried to line it up. And if Kenny Gainwell, so if you're not familiar with Kenny Gainwell out of Memphis, he's a explosive back, works good at agility, kind of shifty, good lateral movement. So he's more of a quickness type back, and he's really helpful in the passing game. So if he lands in a pass heavy role, he could have a really high PPR upside. So that's kind of that guy that I'm targeting. Like if you're doing best ball drafts pre NFL draft, it's Kenny Gainwell for me. I'm really smashing that. So I like him a ton. If we're digging a little bit deeper, the guy that I've been, pushing the entire time, although I've had to accept the fact that he's going to go day 3. I've asked everybody on the scouting side that I can ask, and they're all telling me day 3. Give up your day 2 hopes, Matt. But I like Javian Hawkins out of Louisville a ton. I think he was really dynamic in the Louisville offense. He has great contact balance. He has really nice lateral movement ability, and he's explosive. He bursts through the hole, and I think he's got really good vision. He just got swallowed up behind a really tough Louisville offense, and he's a little undersized. He's coming in at 5'9", about $195. So that's, I think, what's pushing him down to day 3. But we see all the time, day 3 running backs, UDFA running backs, they find fantasy football relevancy for a year or two. So, in terms of projections, Kenny Gainwell. In terms of my heart and my eyes, Javian Hawkins.
Yeah, Gainwell is one of my guys too. That's actually that was my pick as far as running backs that I'm looking to target after those big guys. I think he could be step in day 1 and be third down, long down and distance, 2-minute offense kind of guy. Runs great routes, has great hands. And Matt Waldman just put out his rookie scouting profile. He likened him to Tiki Barber, where if he adds onto his frame, we know Tiki Barber was pretty up and down in the beginning of his career, but he put it all together and could be an all-around back. He doesn't have to be just a receiving back. So I think if he can get into a spot with an established starter in front of him, doesn't have to handle a role more necessary like Denver, that just lost Phillip Lindsay, that'd be a good spot for him behind Melvin Gordon. I think he could be a very nice, stash on a dynasty roster, or even, like you said, best ball or redraft. Part of my best ball strategy is to take running backs certainly before the draft and get all that value while you can before they get their landing spots and their prices just go up and up and up. So Gainwell is definitely on my radar.
So I have 2 questions, 2 different players, and that's going to be so Jamar Jefferson, somebody that seems to be polarizing with a lot of the community on Twitter and whatnot. And then the second player is Chuba Hubbard, and I feel like last year, if he had gotten declared last year, we would have been talking about him kind of as one of the higher end backs going into the second round and whatnot. And yet 2020 happened, and here we are. And it just seems to me like both these guys everybody can land in the right spot, right? But Hubbard in particular, he seems like somebody that can fit a role and really actually excel at that and see what we can do if somebody knows how to use him. And then Jefferson, I just want to know how you feel on him since there's such a divide.
Yeah, so I'll start here with Jefferson. I think he's a little bit easier. I think Jefferson's fine. I think he's a fine running back. I think one of the things you're going to notice about this year's class, all right, it's Najee Harris, it's Travis Etienne, and some folks, want to put Javonte Williams in that top 3 tier. And then I think we're all reaching, right? We're looking for somebody who's going to hit, because it's not the depth of last year's class. And we're gonna find guys we get excited about, and there's gonna be guys who attach to Jamar Jefferson. He's explosive. I think, he could get red zone opportunity at the next level. He's a little bit bigger. I have him here at 216, 5'10", 216. And, he's fine in between the tackles. But overall, I just think he's good at a lot. He's not really great at much. And that doesn't work for the running back position. You got to have something, right? Because the NFL, the running back position, you're in a carved out role most of the times, right? Unless you're Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey and can, take 300 carries a season. You either have to be, a really good 2-down back and at the goal line, or you have to be good in pass, in the passing game. And he's kind of in between on everything. So, he's down there. He's at 35 overall in my rookie big board rankings. That's a late 3rd round rookie pick. He'll probably go off the board before that, but I won't take him just because there's guys that I think have more upside. Chuba Hubbard, I have him at 27 right now. So what's that? An early 3rd round pick in super flex leagues. And he'll probably go a little bit before that as well. So you could say I'm undervalued on him. My big thing with Chuba Hubbard is, and this is I've been off him, I think, longer than a lot of folks. So Hubbard is really fast, right? We know that. He's a track star. He's really fast. I know his pro day numbers sucked. All right. I still know he's fast. He literally was, he chose football over the Olympic track side of his professional career, which he could have explored that side of things instead. My big thing with Hubbard is that you see him playing in the Big 12, right? So if you're not familiar with college football, Big 12 defenses, wide open gaps. All right. This is not high level defenses, relative to college football. So what I consistently saw from Hubbard was an inability in his vision to find the gaps. And he was really, really committed to running in between the A and B gaps and really living in those spots. And he is not a big back. He's a fast back, and he has quick agility and the ability to beat defenders to the edge, but he would not choose to do that. So for me, Chuba Hubbard, man, he's a track star running on a football field, and he hasn't found that vision for the field yet. He hasn't found that feel for the field yet. And if you can't do it running against wide open Big 12 defenses, I just can't see you translating that to the next level. Now, hopefully I'm wrong, right? I hope I'm wrong about any prospect I'm low on because the upside is there and it's appealing, but vision is not something you learn to the next level. Like if you haven't learned it by the NFL, it's going to be really hard for you to catch up to the speed of the game.
Do you think any of that's recency bias just from this past year?
Because you could go back.
He's going to be a little bit better at bouncing out a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, even going back to 2019, you see the I guess ironically the lack of vision. I will say the production's much higher in 2019. The Oklahoma State offense was better. And there's a lot of stuff inside the Oklahoma State program. Folks think maybe Hubbard wasn't really meshing with the coaching staff, and some of that was on public display. And the offense overall was a little down, but also really underrated. The Oklahoma State offensive line was pretty good this year. It was a really underrated unit. So it's hard to make a lot of excuses for Hubbard.
And then going into, more of the day 3 guys, who's a deep sleeper, running back that, we're still talking about the Hubbards and Jared Pattersons and all these guys, but who's a deep sleeper that you're looking at day 3 that could, really surprise for dynasty fantasy managers?
Yeah, so I'm going to go real deep on this one. And it's somebody who I haven't really heard a lot of talk about. I think he's going to be a late day 3 pick. So, I'm not saying, go put all your money on the table for him, but I like Duke's Dion Jackson, 5'11", 220. I'm sorry, I know you're a Syracuse fan. If you go and you watch Dion Jackson, he rips up Syracuse this year. It's really good game tape. And I'll be honest. Right. Who didn't? I'll be honest. I think I just finished player evaluation 94. Dion Jackson, I think, was player 90 that I looked at. So he was not at the top of my radar, but he had a really good pro day time. He tested in the 4.4s on the 40-yard dash, and he's 5'11", 220. So that jumped out to me. I flipped on the tape. It's not consistent, but you see a good level of explosiveness. I like his ability to get to the second level of the field quickly. And I think he has really nice vision working in really tight space behind that Duke offensive line. So I think he's going to be a late day 3 guy, but I think he's going to get drafted. And I could see him fighting for a spot on an NFL roster. And, I say with the running back position, we're always one injury away, right? I mean, how did Chris Carson get there? How did Phillip Lindsay get there? How did James Robinson get there? And I'm not saying he's going to be those guys necessarily, but there seems to be more opportunity for young running backs to ascend from the late 3rd round, or day 3, I should say, than the wide receiver position.